on the hour type of stuff.
Yep,
So,
exactly.
Gross. Well, let's dive into it, Dr. Stanifer. You were telling me before we got started, arts in Blue Ridge, the positions of teaching for those for that is kind of getting reimagined. What's going on?
Yeah, so back a number of years ago, before I was in this role, we had a music teacher that would align vertically. So the music teacher would go between two of our buildings. So he or she could teach anywhere from kindergarten up through 8th grade, 6th grade, and then 7th and 8th grade chorus. And the art teacher would do something similar. So when you have schedules like that, it's quite complex when you have to go between the buildings and make everything line up and allow for travel time, whatever. Since the teachers that were in those positions have retired, I don't know why we ever let them go, but they decided they were done teaching. They had earned their retirement. So we were left to kind of do something a little bit different, because sometimes you can't find a general music teacher that will, come to your district and be able to service all those grade levels. So we have a wonderful solution right now. We have an elementary teacher who does all of our elementary art and music. Mm-hmm. And then she's been gracious enough one morning a week to go to the intermediate grades and to teach them music as well. But we've always, in the back of our minds, been seeking out that general music certificated teacher to see if we could bring that person into the district, which means a lot of schedule upheaval for 2/3 of our district. So we've had a lot of pencil, paper, placing little markers on papers, doing some scheduling work, trying to figure out if we can make this possible. And believe it or not, we've actually had several applicants for our full-time music position. So Great. We're very pleased. So we have the opportunity in the next month to make sure we can knock those schedules out, make sure that they're doable and reasonable for a potential candidate. And then we'll start interviews right after our spring break.
Gotcha. Do you have a good arts program there in Blue Ridge?
We do. Right now, Molly Schneeman is our teacher. She came to us before her licensure was completed. She's just recently completed that, and she does a fantastic job. She had big shoes to fill, but she came in, and it's really neat when you can walk through the building and just see the effectiveness of your art teacher just by the works that are displayed in the hallways. And she does some really nice awards for the kids at the end of the year as well. And you can just tell she's very thoughtful about seeing potential in kids and calling that out and letting them know. And it's just wonderful to watch.
That's what you want in a teacher, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice. So, very good.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that. That'll start next year then, you said?
That's the hope. We only left the full-time position open until right before spring break, because we knew it would be such a large project for the master schedules to be totally reworked at 2 of the buildings. So we had to give them time. Okay. And hopefully we'll be able to fill that and let them know if it's not a full-time position, hopefully it'll be very close to that and be attractive for a new candidate.
Very good. Very good. Well, what else is going on in the district these days? Is your board working on anything, or what's kind of been top of mind for you lately?
Yeah, so we are in the middle of our strategic planning for the next couple of years. Mr. Payton will be our next superintendent. We've talked about that before. And so I encouraged him to consider doing strategic planning while we were still in this school year, while he's the principal at the Snyder Elementary building, just because it would be one less thing on his plate to do as a brand new superintendent. So he made that happen in January. We had a Saturday event, and we had about 40 people there. So that's the beginning of the strategic planning for the next, I don't know, we haven't even decided if it's a 3-year or 5-year document, but now he's leading the administrative team to go back and put some sub goals together. And then the board's going to approve those as we move along, and hopefully that'll all be finalized before the end of May or June, maybe July at the very latest, but that'll be to go, and then he will have his path and his goals situated for him for the next couple of years.
Well, now, the last time we talked, Dr. Stanifer, you had come off of a Saturday strategic planning session. What are these sessions? What are you getting out of them? What does each one have a separate goal? Speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, so somebody from the School Board Association comes in to lead it, which, it's a big relief for a superintendent when somebody comes in to lead that meeting, because it's one less thing that you've had to plan out in detail. But it's also a neutral party that can come in and kind of manage some of the comments that might be shared that day. It's not left for the superintendent to feel like it's their lone thing to run that meeting and all the opinions that are shared. But what we do is we go back and look at basically our vision for the district. What do we want? What are our non-negotiables? And We do a lot of Post-it notes on different big other pieces of poster board, and then we come together as small groups and kind of define different statements about what our mission is. And then we took a minute to look at our current mission statement to see if it was still applicable, and we found that it is. We talked about a little bit of wordsmithing on it, and then we decided one of our teachers made a very nice, strong comment. She said that, I think 90% of our staff members could quote to you the school's missions, the district's mission statement without looking it up. And that to me spoke volumes, because before we wrote this current mission statement, nobody even knew where this long, almost paragraph statement was. That was the way mission statements were written years ago, right? Long and wordy, and they couldn't be remembered. So now we have a fresh one. It's easy to remember, and we decided we're not going to fix it. We don't think there's anything that's worth fixing because it is working so well. And then we looked at go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I'm sorry.
Then we looked at 5 different areas, finance, facilities, programs and services, all of our curriculum pieces. And then everybody put down what we're doing well and what they would like to see changed. And then that's where the goals come from. And then the administrators get to put the sub-steps underneath that and decide, how are we really going to accomplish that goal? What things do we need to do, and how often do we need to touch base?
Gotcha. Well, I wanted to ask, who is involved in these meetings? I mean, is it all school administration? Is there community members? Who comes out for this? Who's invited to this?
Yeah, good question. So the invite falls heavily on the administrators and the board. So administrators were there. If you remember, we used Tri-County Special Ed Association for our related services. So we had a social worker from Tri-County that was there. Reagan Deering's new state rep was there for us. She works closely with one of our board members. We had 3 or 4 of our board members there. We had a former board member, president. Our mayor of Farmer City came. One of our business owners in town came. Farmer City Outreach, our gal that runs that, she came. We had parents. We had teachers. We had school counselors. We had our operations and maintenance supervisor there. The executive director of Tri-County, Scott Hogan, was there. And we even had community members that don't yet have children in our school system, but they will soon. Their kids are just a little bit younger right now. So It was a really nice, very wide, broad mix of people, I would say.
Okay. So what are you hearing from these individuals about, the priorities of the district going forward? I know last time we talked, you mentioned, the district will kind of handle the academic stuff. So what's the community concerned about? What do they want to see? Where do they want to see the district going?
I would say a couple things loud and clear. We want a new playground at Snyder Elementary. And we know that. Our playground is antiquated. That's definitely on the list. It was funny because when we did this back in, 2022 maybe was, or 21, fall of 21, maybe to put in place for 22, they wanted a track. And what do you know? I never imagined that in my 5 years in this seat that we would be able to find the funding source to get a track planned when I started in the middle of the pandemic. So it felt kind of too lofty of a goal, but actually it's already in place right now. It's underway, and that'll be done in May or June of this year. So yeah, the next big outside, very visible project would be a playground there. And then there was a lot of mention about, what do we do about before school and after school care for our parents? And actually, the Clinton YMCA was a big helper for us in the pandemic time. They came over and staffed a before and after school program, and we shuttled kids between Mansfield and Farmer City before and after school. But the numbers got so low that Clinton couldn't keep it up because they weren't bringing any money in. So we've had to disband that. But if the need is here, I'm sure we could go back to Clinton and ask for that support again. We just have to make sure that it's needed as loudly as it sounded during that strategic planning meeting. So,
well, that tells me you've got a lot of young families in your communities.
Yes, we do. And daycare is always tricky, especially when pre-K is a half a day. What do you do for the other half a day? I know when my kids were going through that time, I was fortunate that somebody else in the daycare or that mom's child was in the same program. And so she could be the pickup and, drop off person, because as a working husband and wife, we couldn't do it either. So
Right.
It
Right.
takes a village, that's for sure.
I feel that for sure. Very good. Well, strategic planning moving along. So what's kind of next then, Dr. Stanifer? Are there more of these kind of brainstorming sessions, or where do you go next? What's kind of the next step in the process?
Yeah, so a lot of our next steps deal with personnel and scheduling for next year. We don't have a lot of retirements going on. We're thankful for that, 2 in the kitchen. But we already have people interested in those positions, which is great. So we don't know of teaching positions that we're going to need to fill. But if we do find those out soon, we get those posted right away, as every other district does, because the field isn't as wide as it used to be. I would say that for sure. And then a lot of scheduling planning, making sure that, one of the things that we look at right now, we have 3 sections or 3 classrooms at each of our grade levels, K through 4. And so now that grade is rising into 5th grade, and we only have 2 sections right now. So we have to have those discussions with the board about, do you want to spend the money? Is it worth spending the money to get those class sizes lowered? And if so, that would create a new position for us that we'd have to hire for.
I see.
So,
Very good. How much of a role does Mr. Payton have in this process, since he's going to kind of be walking into this plan then?
Yeah. So if he was, let's say if he, it would be nice if he wasn't still in a full-time, very busy job as an elementary principal. That way he could be with me more. We have your friend Mary Diener, who is filling in. She's supporting a couple days a week at that building, but still some of the things that go on at an elementary building, especially when we transition between, we had a nurse who left us and we've just hired another one, but an administrator becomes a nurse, a school nurse, when there's not a nurse there. So there's a lot of different roles that he's still playing, but whenever he can, he's over here, and he's definitely part of the decisions for next year. Yeah, that's sure. Basically, we're already in next year as far as planning. So everything I'm doing, I'm checking with him. Hey, what do you think about this? I'll do the legwork. You tell me if this is where you want to go, and we'll get it done. So it's a tag team effort right now.
Well, what did I miss in that conversation about strategic planning there, Dr. Stanifer?
Just that we're trying to make goals that are very purposeful this time. I think we all, as an admin team, myself especially, learned last time we had, I would say maybe overly detailed sub goals. And after a while, they weren't as applicable to be reporting on every 3 months. And so we're trying to be very thoughtful about the way we word things. So there are maybe 4 or 5 different things that we could do to meet that sub goal. And maybe we don't need to check it every 3 months. Maybe it's on a 6-month schedule. So now that we've lived through the last couple of years as a team, I think we're going to be even smarter about this next one.
Sounds good. Dr. Hillary Stanifer, Superintendent of Blue Ridge Schools, my guest on the Zoom call. More to come with Dr. Stanifer on the morning show.
WHOW.org. Let's check the markets now on the RFD Radio Network. I'm Jim Taylor. Corn and beans higher at this hour. Wheat trading lower. March corn up 1.5, 503.5. May corn 517.5, up 1 3/4. New crop December 478 3/4, up 1 1/4. March beans up 8 1/4, 1046 3/4. May beans up 7 1/4, 1062 3/4. And new crop November 1062 1/4, up 4 1/4. March Chicago wheat down a nickel, 599 3/4. May wheat down 4 1/4, 613.5. March bean meal 297 even, up 320. March bean oil down 53 cents, 46.77. Livestock market, March feeders 269.22, down half a dollar. February live cattle down 35 cents, 197.10. April lean hogs 91.32, down $1.87. Energy market, March crude oil 72.86, up $1.01. Jim Taylor on the RFD Radio Network.
Illinois Corn is proud to invest in Illinois Ag in the classroom, powering the next generation of Illinois neighbors who understand and appreciate agriculture. In Illinois, 78 paid ag literacy coordinators serve 87 counties, and your corn checkoff funds about 20% of each of the 78 positions. The Illinois Corn Checkoff's mission is to grow demand, create new markets, and foster understanding of corn farmers and the corn industry through strategic investments. Learn more online at ilcorn.org.
SIU Family Medicine wants the best health for you and your family. Be a champion. Protect your loved ones. The SIU Center for Family Medicine of Lincoln is accepting new patients. Click their icon at DeWittDailyNews.com to schedule your appointment.
Hi, I'm Brett with Central Cremation Center, and we proudly serve all of Central Illinois. We offer the most affordable and convenient arrangements in the area with plans starting at just $795. Many of our plans are available by clicking our icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Dr. Hillary Stanifer, Superintendent of Blue Ridge Schools, my guest on the Zoom call for today. And yeah, Dr. Stanifer, you mentioned FFA week. I know we'll have your Blue Ridge students either over here or we'll talk to them here later this week on our noon farm show. What are they doing in your buildings these days?
Yeah, perfect. So today is dress like your station, like an ear of corn or like the sun. So we have one gal that's dressed in literally an ear of corn costume. It's pretty funny.
Wow.
But they're also doing rock, paper, scissor games. So I hear a lot of noise in the hallway. If I'm loud in my background, I'm sitting in the high school hallway where my office is. And so you buy a set of like the Mardi Gras beads to wear, and then you're playing rock, paper, scissor during passing periods and so on. And so people are collecting beads out there and doing fun stuff. Yesterday, it was a cold day, but they had the grill going early in the morning, and they made an appreciation lunch for staff. So that really was cool. I don't know what student it was because he was wrapped from head to toe while he was out there on the grill, gloves and hat, and face covered and everything. But he was there doing the job, so they're having a good time.
That's nice, very good. Yeah, like I said, we'll have them on the noon farm show here later this week. So look forward to talking to them about all the things going on. And boy, FFA is so big in Blue Ridge. I know you've had a lot of students go on and do some incredible things out of that program, Dr. Stanifer.
Yep. Jacqueline Meisner is a fantastic person to have in that position. Just the amount of energy that she has. I mean, I consider myself one of the earliest to arrive and one of the ones to leave the last, but you look down and see Jacqueline's car there. She's still working with kids, setting up interview practicing, and she's doing it all. She knows how to run the machine, that's for sure.
Very good. Well, Dr. Stanifer, what is the Memorial Plaza? What's going on there?
So once we have our track and field project completed, we are going to start working on the Memorial Plaza. So there was a football star that passed away, unfortunately, many years ago. There's currently a Rittenhouse Memorial at the entrance to our field, and we are going to take that memorial piece down, have it sandblasted and cleaned up, and then have new posts. The company that's doing our track and field, Burn & Jones, is going to give us new posts that are going to be further apart from each other, closer to the parking lot to make it a more grand entrance. Mm-hmm. And then we'll replace that Rittenhouse Memorial sign there. So we have that historical piece that we can still honor him. But we've had some consolidation. So we have some stones that have like a memorial to the schools that have existed before the current Blue Ridge. Mm-hmm. And we would like to design an area where perhaps it's a curved half brick wall, and we have those big stones inserted in there so people can come and still realize that, you know, those schools were a part of our rich culture and history here. Mm-hmm. And then maybe even individuals could, if they wanted to, you know, purchase a brick for a cost and have that entered there. So that plaza work is probably not going to happen until summertime, just because we want to get all the concrete work done and the new posts put in before we start doing any additional pieces. But we meet about every 3 months. We were supposed to meet yesterday afternoon to do a look at the concession building and the track. But, you know, I heard we might not want to be outside. So we postponed our meeting because a little birdie told me we should have some better weather next week.
It is going to be better next week. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. So hopefully. But very good. So look forward to that then, Dr. Stanifer. Let's wrap up with welding booths at Blue Ridge High School. What are welding booths? What are they doing?
So in our ag shop, we had some defunct, not safe welding booths from a long, long time ago. And we had a jump start from the Sapphire Sky Wind Farm, McLean County project. That's partially in our district. And so Invenergy had donated some money towards that welding booth project. So they donated $15,000, about a third of the cost of the project. And we're going to give the board members a tour tonight. So the ag shop teacher and our industrial tech teacher are both going to be able to teach students how to weld, which is a great skill for them to leave high school with. We're really excited about that.
Nice, very good. So, yeah, a lot of opportunities, and even in a small place like Blue Ridge, I mean, the more opportunities you can give kids, the more of a leg up they get when they head not only to college but beyond.
Yeah, trades, military, anywhere they go, we try to get them ready for anything that they want to do next.
Sure. Well, will your board be doing much next month? And by the way, when is your board meeting? Is it this week?
It is this week. It is tonight at 7:00.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Are they taking anything up tonight?
No, they won't talk about anything.
Oh. Well, hold on now. Mr. Goebel was in here an hour ago, told me he had like a 15-minute meeting. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that you just don't have a whole lot.
I think, was it last month? I think our January meeting was very short, maybe less than 45 minutes, but that's not normal. So ours will be a little bit longer. Could be a couple hours tonight, but tonight we'll put some news, put a news brief out, but we'll be hiring our next elementary principal tonight. So stay tuned on that one.
Cool. Awesome. Very good. So look forward to that. What's in the month ahead then, Dr. Stanifer? Anything on your plate in the next several weeks that you'll be really focused in on?
Yeah, so a lot of scheduling work, and then also we're getting ready for our summer programming, asking the board to approve those positions, and then we'll be looking to hire people who want to do some of that summertime work as well.
What types of things are you doing this summer there?
We do a kindergarten jumpstart program where we bring our kiddos in 2 mornings a week before school starts. So our kindergarten teachers and paraprofessionals work on that. We're going to have a little bit of a summer math boot camp going on at the high school. Might be credit recovery, might not, depending on what the need is. And then our extended school year for our students with IEPs that need to have summer services, we'll be planning for that as well. And then we do a 1-day bridge program for some students who might need a little extra support as they move from 8th grade to 9th grade.
Gotcha.
So,
very good. Well, Dr. Stanifer, always good to talk to you. Thanks for making time for us today.
Good to be with you, Seth.
Dr. Hillary Stanifer, Superintendent of Blue Ridge Schools, my guest. Network News on the way.